Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is Kate Alder from Irvine Valley College. So welcome to our webinar series for this fall. The California Career Cafe team is excited to bring you this new series of webinars about the Find a Job features of the cafe. These webinars and the great resources on the cafe are brought to you through SB 70 funding from the California Community College Chancellor's Office. I'll take a moment to cover some technical details, then we'll get started. The entire webinar is being recorded and will be available for future viewing on the Career Briefs website. The link will be provided at the end of the webinar. During the webinar, we ask that you keep your microphone or telephone muted. You will be able to listen through the computer speakers or headset if you have joined us through voice over IP. If you call in with your telephone, please be sure your phone is muted. So let's take a look at how you can ask questions. You should see a control panel similar to this on the right side of your computer monitor. If you don't see it, then look for this small group of icons or something similar to it on the top right corner of your screen, and then use the double arrows to expand the control panel. If you have, if you have any questions or comments, you'll use the questions area of the control panel to send your questions directly to me. If it's a technical question, I will respond directly to you as quickly as possible. If it's a question for our presenter, I will hold it until the end and ask everyone's questions at that time. So be sure to stick around. So now let's get on to the webinar. Oh, before we get started, little reminder, we do need some help with the Find a Job site. So each college needs to have a site administrator, and we're going to give you some details after the presentation about what you need to do to be the site administrator for your college for the Find a Job site. So today is the first in this brown bag series about Find a Job, and this first presentation is called Using the Resources Without Registering. All of the webinar series is going to be presented to you by Nancy Galusian, and it's my pleasure to introduce Nancy to all of you from the California Employment Development Department. Nancy earned a bachelor's in sociology from UCLA in 2008 and then began working with the Work Services branch of EDD in the LA Ventura division. In her role as an employment program representative, Nancy provides resources and information to customers, the community, employers, and elected officials. In addition to her position as an EPR, Nancy is also an outstation trainer for the division, which means that whenever there's a new program, a new process, or change in the department, she's the one who trains the staff and managers on the selected topic. Nancy was recently selected by her division to be a super trainer for the new Cal Jobs, which is the backbone behind the cafe's Find a Job site. As a super trainer, Nancy trains staff, management, and partners like us on the new site. She coordinates trainings within the division and trains trainers to assist in the process of training all the staff. Nancy also serves on 3 work groups: Common Measures, Managing Reports, and Veteran Training, and those work groups analyze the Cal Job site in detail and create new training. Obviously, we have a very knowledgeable and skilled trainer ready to help us learn how to use this exciting new resource. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn the presentation over now to Nancy Galusian. So Nancy, I hope you're there with us. I've turned this over to Nancy. Are you there, Nancy?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, perfect.
So you want to go ahead and click on the Show My Screen piece?
Give me 1 second here.
Sure, no problem. In the meantime, folks, don't forget, if you have any questions, to please use the questions area of your control panel. Send me your questions and I'll get back to you with the answers as quickly as I can.
Are you able to see my screen right now?
Not yet. So Nancy, in your control panel up towards the top, there should be a blue button with a right arrow on it that says show my screen.
It currently has it next to your name, Kate.
So what are you seeing now?
There we go. Now it's
Okay. All right. Sorry for the
all right.
technical hiccup there,
Are
folks.
you able to see it now?
Okay, great.
That's
There we
the first
go.
one. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Brown Bag series. Today we are going to cover information on what you can do with CalJobs without registering on the site. I hope you guys find the information beneficial in how to assist students and for yourselves as well on what CalJobs can feature. A look at our schedule here, our Lunch and Learn series. Today's schedule will cover what users can do for free. On October 4th, we'll cover what users get when they register. October 18th will be how to assist employers. November 1st, we'll cover Resume Builder, and on November 15th, we'll discuss how to assist students and conduct a job search. So, let me just move this here. So what is CalJobs? CalJobs has been an internet-based job and resume listing labor exchange system provided by the State of California's Employment Development Department. This is a main system that we use when we are trying to assist our job seekers, and they can be anyone who ever comes into our office and is looking for work. We refer them to CalJobs. The benefit of CalJobs is that it is free for both employers and job seekers, and it is available to access 24/7 from anywhere. In March of this year is when our website actually got a new facelift. The site totally changed, and there's a lot of beneficial features that are on it now that we didn't see before. And it is around that time that we actually got this a notice to connect with our community colleges, since CalJobs is now featured on the Career Cafe website. One of the newer features of the website is that job seekers can have up to 10 different resumes on the website. Another benefit of it is that you can save it as a Word document or even a PDF file. So beforehand, you couldn't do that. You can also research labor market information and trends, explore training information, budget finances, and more. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this. So as you guys know, this is the Career Cafe website. To access CalJobs, you would go to Find a Job. And I did circle it in red there, so if you guys want to follow that. From this point on is where you get to the CalJobs, almost to the CalJobs screen. If you are already registered, then you would go ahead and select the Sign Into CalJobs over on the bottom corner here. However, if you are not registered yet, or if you just want to take a look as a guest without registering, you would go to Register on CalJobs. Now remember, CalJobs is free to register, so it doesn't hurt to go ahead and register or to promote it to students either. Once you go ahead and select the register, you would go to this first option here where it says guest access. And there is a lot of stuff that you can actually do on the website for free. So, it's just kind of good to check it out and see what is available for some before they go ahead and register on the site. As you know, as was mentioned previously, that CalJobs and the State of California's Employment Development Department, we like to say that our customers are not just individuals, but our employers as well, because we like to connect employers with qualified job seekers. That's why when you go ahead and select the guest access, you see two options come up, individual or employer, because on CalJobs, for the most part, whenever an employer has a job opening, we go ahead as staff and enter those job openings for those employers. Employers do have access to put their job order in as well, but a lot of times, just because of time or knowledge or whatever it may be, they might just go ahead and call us and we'll do the job orders for them. So we'll go ahead and select individual. And from that point on, this is the CalJobs home screen. So you'll notice that there are a few options into getting to places. What you see on your left-hand side here that is in black or a dark gray color, we call this your left-hand navigation. Whether, now I should say, if an individual registers, this is how the page looks. But once you have staff access, it might look different. So I believe that you might have staff access now or maybe in the future. So just be mindful that if you do have that staff access, your screen might look a little different. But this is how, for most people, when they register on CalJobs as an individual, this is how their screen will look. So once again, everything to the left is called the left-hand navigation, and this is the main dashboard right here. You can get to things different ways, whether you select the career services here or you go to find a job here. One feature of the new site is that you can get places in many ways. So sometimes the best way to kind of practice is just playing around with it, because you'll see that there are different ways to get to a certain part that you're trying to find. So this is our main dashboard here. For today, we're going to cover some of the free features. So we're going to select job search, and there's a lot that you can do without registering by doing a job search. So we selected job search, and a few different ways come up for you to do a job search, whether you want to do a quick job search, advanced job search. If there's a certain employer that a student may have in mind, you could do job search by employer, by education, job search by skills, by your resume criteria, or job number search. That's usually whenever we have a job order, there's a job number attached to it, so some people could search it by a certain job number as well. I like the quick job search because it is quick and you can find a lot of results this way. Another good option is an advanced job search for those who might have a certain salary that they do need to meet. They could do the advanced job search and select a criteria that they need for that salary. So for this, we're just going to go ahead and do the quick job search, and you'll see that you do it by, you can make it very specific by doing it by zip code. You'll enter your zip code, and you could do a certain mile radius for it to search all the job orders within CalJobs. And if you want a keyword, that can maximize your search efforts as well. If you have a certain job in mind, let's say sales, retail, office, admin, what have you, you would go ahead and type that in here. And I should say that the jobs that are in CalJobs are all in the state of California. So anybody will go ahead, whether it's staff or an employer, entering the job order. So it's within the state of California. And we do get some spidering jobs that come in from Indeed.com and America's Labor Exchange. I can't remember the second one. I apologize. I'll remind myself to get back on the next webinar about that, but it's America's Job Exchange or something like that. Those are the two different websites that we will get job orders from as well. So those are the job orders that are in the system. So once you go ahead and hit search, these are all the job orders that come up. If you notice here, it says your search found more than 500 jobs listed. Below are the 500 most recent, representing at least 538 positions that matched your search criteria. So of course, we didn't make it too specific, so there are a lot of jobs that are appearing here. But, you know, that just shows you how many jobs are within the system. And another good feature on the site, anything that you see that is bolded in the heading, if you select that, it will rearrange it based on that information. So if you want to rearrange it by date, by the job title, or the employer, it would go ahead and organize it in that manner. So it makes it a little bit more easier for the job seeker. So once you click on any of these blue links, it will take you to the actual job order. So I selected one here, and it was a Best Buy sales consultant, and this is how your job order will look, where it will give you a job order number. It'll give you a job order number, the job title, the job duration, and the employer name, of course, had to be the company profile, and, oops, sorry about that, guys, and the job description. Once you scroll down a little further on the page, you'll get the red link on how to apply for this job. But before we do that, it'll also show you when the job was posted. So you can see how recent the job order is. And once again, since as staff members, we are typically the ones that enter the job orders in, we ask the employers how long they want the job order to be in. So sometimes it could be for as little as 15 days, 30 days, 60 days, and it goes up to 90 days. So that's how long the job orders are in for. And whenever they do hire someone, we'll go ahead and close the job order out so that, there is not an open job order for someone that might get excited and the job is closed. However, with that being said, we don't always find out what employers fill their openings. So sometimes you will see a job order that's in there that might have been filled that is still open. So be mindful of that as well. Unfortunately, that does happen. So keep in mind this is without registering. So when you do try to apply for the job, you will get a notice saying that since you have not signed on with CA Career Cafe, you will not be able to, you had to apply for this job. So that does kind of restrict you from applying for the job, but at least you do get to see what is out there on CalJobs in terms of your job search. And another good feature, once you get this, you'll see over here it says other local job listings for this employer, or you have the option to see all job listings for this employer. So, you can kind of see what else is out there. Maybe that position wasn't something you're looking for, or you want to see what other areas this employer has open. You can definitely check that out as well. And I did select the search other local job listings for this employer and looked at all the job orders that you do get. There are over 196 jobs represented from Best Buy, since that was a job order that we selected. So it's pretty cool. You get to really see what's out there and what jobs are in the system with a certain employer that you might not think of sometimes when you're applying for a job that could be out there. So that was the job orders. Next, that was how to do a job search, and since we weren't registered, we can't go ahead and apply for the job, but we were able to see all the jobs that are out there, how much they pay, and just get your interest. What we're going to do next is the career services. So looking at our left-hand navigation, we did the job search. I should say now that the resume builder is something that we can't see since we're not registered, but we will be covering that in our one of our next brown bag series. But now we're going to cover the career services. So when you select from the left-hand navigation the career services, I do want you to see these little arrows that you do see here. These are called our flyout menus. So whenever you kind of hover over one, you'll see different options on how to get to places. Basically, for the career services, if you were to select the little arrow here, you'll see these flyouts come out as well. So remember how I said there's different ways to get to places. So either you could hover over the arrow to get to any of these 4 options, or you could just select career services and you'll see these 4 options. So we're going to select, we're going to kind of explore the career information here. So there are 4 steps that you could kind of check out for the career services, and this is very beneficial if you are a career counselor or if you have a student that is just maybe unsure of what is out there for him or her. The website does feature a self-assessment. So a student can kind of do a self-assessment of their skills, or they can match their occupation based on what they have experience in. So once again, what is really good, what I like to say about the website that's really good is that, especially for someone, for a student who might not know what's out there or is currently trying to further their education, whether it's at an associate's degree level or further, this website is really designed for someone to think about what is out there and what they need to do to get to that level. Whether when looking at the labor market information, which we're going to look at in a little bit, it kind of shows you the salary range and what skills you need to get to that job. So really, it's kind of like an eye-opener for someone who is just starting school and entering the real world and trying to get into a career. I think it's really good for someone to kind of get their eyes open and see what's out there. So with that being said, we're going to do the self-assessment, and here, if you read on the page, there are 2 different ways that you could do it, whether it's match your skills or match your occupation. So once you do that, we have to do the job skills, because without registering, we won't be able to do the self-assessment about your own match your skills. We're going to have to do it based on the occupation that we've had before. So these are those screens that you would see. So you would go ahead and do your job skills, which would identify the detailed skills that you have that are valuable in the workplace to find a career or occupation that suits you, and see how much you match the job skills employees are looking for. So next you would do the second option, because we can't do the first one since we're not registered, but this one would be to identify and match your own job skill set. The second option, which is match an occupation's job skill set. So you would hit continue, and then you would have to find an industry or a job that you're interested in. So I just went ahead and did first line supervisor of a retail store. You can do it by group as well. And anything that you type into any of these boxes you see here when it pertains to employment or occupation is from ONET. So as always, our website, CalJobs, always pulls information from ONET. So you'll see ONET codes and ONET descriptions, and it makes it very easy as you go along, and we'll see in our different webinar series when it pulls in from ONET, because it's pulling in from a code, it kind of gives its own description, and it makes it easier when you're trying to make a resume, trying to figure out what should be the criteria for qualifications or summary. So we're going to go ahead and enter the retail sales work, and we'll hit search. And these are all the skills that come up that are associated with the retail sales worker. The check mark indicates which of those are in your list of saved skills, but since we are not registered, we don't have any saved skills here. But had we would kind of be able to compare and analyze what our skills are and what the skills are of a first-line supervisor of retail sales. Once you were to do that, and if you had registered and you had more skills saved, that's a little tongue twister, you can select the desired occupation match level for your selected assessment. So if you want to closely match your job skills, moderately match, loosely, or show all occupations, you can select either one, and then you can find more jobs that are available based on the job skills that you have once saved about your work history and your experience. And then it'll pull up all the jobs that it has in the system. So it does it by the occupation title, how many skills, how many of the skills that, how many skills you match, how many you may lack, which is pretty cool to see as well. The match level, so this is showing that these are 100%, but remember we never entered any skills, so of course it'll be 100%. And even better is how many job openings, and this is since September 18th. There are 4,500 job openings, and this is just within our system here. So kind of shows you how many jobs you can find in the system. And yeah, of course, you'll see that some of them, we see the aircraft cargo handling supervisors. There are no job openings within our system in CalJobs for this position. But it does do a good breakdown, at least, of showing you all the jobs based on your skills. And in addition, it will show you what has a bright outlook nationally. And if there were any green jobs in this search, we would see a little, I think it's like a little green feather, and next to it says green job. So it kind of tries to show you what type of job that occupation is in. So remember, the first is the self-assessment from the Career Explorer. Next is the checking the labor market. Now, labor market is a really good tool to provide to students, even for ourselves, even if you are already employed. With the State of California's Employment Development Department, one of our branches is the Labor Market Department. And basically what the Labor Market Department does, they analyze trends with occupations, industries, whether it has to do with what location is best to find a job. If you are thinking of transitioning your career, labor market information kind of does a good job in letting you know if you should make that switch or not based on how many job openings there are, if that occupation is kind of on the decline or if they're inclining, more positions are opening up within the state, what the average salary is for each county within our state of California. So if you're thinking about maybe moving, beforehand, before March, when our system was not updated, you couldn't find labor market information on CalJobs. But now it's within the system. So that makes it very easy for those who are already on CalJobs. And if they really use the website well, they can, find this information about labor market as opposed to going to the site directly. You could just go to CalJobs and find labor market information. So we're going to check out the labor market. This time I decided to do a search for office and administrative support occupations, and please keep in mind we're still able to access this without registering on the website. So whether you want to do a job search or if you just want to check out labor market information, you can do all of this without registering at first. So we did the admin support and the education experience. I just selected associate's degree, but it has everything. It has high school diploma. It has like 1 year of training or vocational school or schooling, and it goes to associate's degree. It goes all the way to a PhD. So it is very diverse in the education experience, and it also just does have a certain amount of experience for that field as well. So you can select 6 months of experience, and then depending on what occupation you selected, that's how it would be. And then you do the wage requirements. So if someone has a wage requirement that they need to meet, a criteria, or if you just want to leave it open, we could do $9.50 hourly. And then it'll show you the occupations based on what we entered here. And up top, just to kind of go back to what I was talking about earlier, so any job that is a bright outlook nationally will be in orange writing. Bright outlook statewide will be in this kind of burgundy writing. And then the green feather would be any green occupation. So the occupation title is listed here based on the admin work that we selected. It shows you the recommended education level for each job as well, how much preparation is needed, the estimated employment from 2008, and that was the last time the labor market had done an update. It does it for every 10 years, so that's why you'll notice it's from 2008 to 2018. However, even though it's for every 10 years, the median wage does change. If you notice towards the end of our little graph here, it is from 2011. So it does have updates, but big projections are typically for about a 10-year stance. But on the labor market's information, they do update like the unemployment trends, unemployment statistics. Every month there is a new update. So that is updated frequently, but bigger projections are usually from a 10-year span. So you'll see the estimated employment from 2008, the projected employment, which is up to 2018, any change that they saw from the previous projections they had analyzed, how many annual average openings the job does have, the median wage from 2011, and how many job openings are within, sorry about that, how many job openings are on the site from September 18th, 2013. And the reason it's September 18th is because that's when I had done these screenshots. So that's why the date is September 18th. Had you logged in September 1st, that's what it would show you instead, not the 18th. So when you scroll down the page, it will show you, because we are looking at the labor market information, it will show you a summary of the job duties. So it gives you a little bit of information on what you might do as a first-line supervisor of office and admin support workers. And once again, it is pulling from ONET, and it does tell you right here, this information is based on ONET data. ONET is a trademark registered by the U.S. Department of Labor. So that's why it is pulled from ONET. Any significant points, it will tell you right underneath the summary of job duties for this occupation. There are no significant points to list. Then you get information on how many jobs are available. So it'll show you the occupation title, and you do see this bright outlook nationally, so that's a good indicator for someone who is looking for this job, and how many job openings as of September 18th. There are 1,500 job openings approximately. And then I'll go a little more deeper, showing the education and training data, the typical education requirements for someone in that occupation, coming from the labor market information. So this will tell you that it usually requires at least work experience in a related occupation. However, not all employers may make this a hiring requirement. Next, it will show you the occupational wage data. So it will show you the entry level for this occupation, the median, and how much an experienced first-line supervisor may earn. And it'll break it down to the hourly wage as well. So once again, I mean, this is pretty good information that you can get on the website without having to register. And this is all from the labor market information, and it's tied into CalJobs now. And going a little further, it'll show you some more information. Sorry about that. It'll show you some more employment data. Occupational employment and future employment outlook. So just how the job is going to do. So this is more for someone who might be going to school for something very specific, or maybe is trying to go into a training program where they get a certificate in the end. This is good to utilize to kind of see if this job is, you know, a good transition or a good selection, to make sure that the job is going to grow rather than a smaller percentage of a growth. Through the labor market information, it will also show you the projected annual openings for the job that we have selected here. So it'll show you that total annual average openings, almost 6,000 openings for this first-line supervisor, and how many are due to growth, which is about 1,500. So, you know, it really breaks it down for you when you are trying to look up any labor market information. I should say that labor market information is very intricate and it's very detailed. Even if you were to go onto the site, there's a lot of information, a lot of numbers, a lot of projections. So, you know, it really helps when you are trying to figure out what kind of career you want and if you should make that choice, and if you want to go to school for that, if you should be spending the time for that maybe major or that training program. Next, I'll show you the largest industries by employment. So it'll show you the largest number of first-line supervisors, since that's what we had selected, and it'll show you where they come from. So the first one that we see here is a depository credit intermediation, and there are 15,500, and the percent of total employment is 8.4%. And I'll show you, you know, break it down going from the first one all the way to number 10, and I think there are more on the page. So college and universities, legal services, elementary and secondary schools. So it shows you all the occupations within a certain industry that you can get for a first-line supervisor or manager of office and admin. So next, kind of going into the labor market a little bit more, and this, once again, you can do for free. And this one I think is really good to pay attention to with labor market information. So when you're on the site, and we're still in the same area we were, which was number 2 for career information, when it comes to the labor market facts, you could look up by the area profile, so you can make it very specific to your own area. You could do an industry profile, so if there's a certain industry that you are trying to look up, or an occupation. So an industry is a little bigger, the occupation will be more specific. But once you do the labor market facts, you get this nifty little page here with a bunch of questions, and you can look up each one based on what you are interested in. So if you are a student want to see what jobs are currently listed for an area, you would select that one. And it would pull up a zip code where you would type in your zip code and it'll show you what jobs are listed in the area. What are the highest paying jobs in the area? Once again, you would add in your zip code. because this is more local area information, and it'll pull up all that. So it really narrows it down, makes it easier for you to kind of see what's out there based on the area that you are in. And, you know, it doesn't have to be the area you are currently in. What if you're thinking about moving or whatever it may be, or commuting? If you're willing to commute somewhere and you want to see what openings they have in that area, you can really pull it down from this list here. And because it's labor market information, you know, it does make it good in showing the fastest growing occupations, slowest growing occupations, highest employment in an area, the lowest employment in an area. So it makes it very specific. I had selected, sorry, I'm going to go back to show you. I did the what jobs are currently listed for an area. And then from here we did the state, specific area was California. And just because I want to see a bigger number, we see all of the jobs here listed in California that are the highest grossing. And number one was the family and general practitioners. So it shows you their median level wage, and then it goes down to the computer hardware engineers. So, you know, you kind of get to see what's out there and what jobs are the most grossing, what jobs have the most openings, based on whatever you might have selected from these questions here, that would pull up the information for you. So I really like this feature the most because it makes it very easy for you to understand labor market information and kind of think about it a little bit more. So there's just a few more to go through that we can do for free. And step number 3 would be finding any schools or educational programs. The site does feature schools and educational programs and training providers, and you can access some of that for free as well. So whichever one you would want to select, whether it may be the training provider and schools or training and educational programs, you'd select that, and then the next page you would come to the training providers and schools, training and education programs, education program completers, and there are a lot of online learning resources that the site does feature as well. So that is all, this is all accessible without registering on the site as well. And then the last one is finding employers and today's job openings. So that's basically saying that you're ready to visit the job seeker services, and by registering, you get to see all of the job seeker services that the site does have to offer. The 10 steps of exploring a new path, find job openings, the job market trends, the resume builder. There is also a letter builder. Once you register and you're able to do a resume, you can also save a cover letter and have a cover letter template as well in the letter builder. Employers posting jobs, that's another way to job search. And the virtual recruiter, which we will get into once you register on the site. The virtual recruiter basically is you type in a certain job that you want the system to search for you, and it will search the job for you. So it kind of does your work for you without you having to do a job search every day. By doing the virtual recruiter, you can select a certain job, and the system will do a run-through every week, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever you select, and show you all the new job openings. So these are all the features that are available to someone when they actually register on the site. You can kind of, you know, dive a little deeper and play around with the system more and really get your resume out there and your job search. Before we wrap up our first session of our webinar, I do want to say that the website does also offer a learning center. So, and it is, without registering, you could still access the learning center. So once you see here, our left-hand navigation, all the way at the bottom under other services, we do have the learning center. And the learning center provides videos, training videos. So it kind of breaks it down to several things that you can do on the website. And this is it right here on the screen. You can, if you look at the individual courses, it breaks it down on how to use the site, how to create an individual account, the background wizard, how to do the resume builder, and we will be going over this information in our webinar series. But for one who might get lost or confused within the site, the system does really try to provide a lot of help by having these videos, and this is just a look at how the video is. and it does show you everything, and it's an audio as well and closed captioning. So it kind of tries to show you everything that's happening if you get lost or if you have any questions. And I had selected the how to use a site. And that brings us to the end of our first brown bag series of what you can do on CalJobs without registering.
Great. Thank you so much,
See
Nancy.
if there are any questions.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, that was so much information. That's great, and it's so exciting to see that it's all available to our students, even if they choose not to register on the site. And I can't wait to see what's going to be available to them when they do register. So before we get,
that's just.
Go ahead.
I just said that was like just the tip of the iceberg. With once you actually register with the resume, what the resume can do, there's a lot of good features. But I hope everyone enjoyed what they can do without registering.
So we do have a couple of questions, and I'm going to get to those questions in just a second. But for our audience, our presenter, Nancy, also wanted to find out if you have a preference for the way that she did the presentation today was in using screenshots, or do you prefer to see her actually interacting with the website? So if everybody could please just take a moment, and on your screen right now you should be seeing a quick poll that says, do you prefer to see screenshots or live interaction with the website? Or no preference. So if you could please just take a minute and go ahead and vote. And I see a lot of people are already voting, so that's great. We're going to give that a second to go on. In the meantime, Nancy, I do have a few questions for you. So the first question is about employers submitting or posting their jobs. Is there someone that we can refer them to for help for registering their jobs on the site? What's their process?
Yeah, well, typically the process whenever an employer, the employer first has to register on the site, and they register. What I can say about CalJobs versus any other website, it's a more legitimate website because the employer has to give us their tax ID number. So that is what we typically need whenever we first register an employer. We need a tax ID number. And then we enter the job order. So if you do get an employer who is trying to put a job order in CalJobs or is kind of confused, to be honest, I'm not sure what the permissions the staff with community colleges have. I'm not sure if the counselors or any of the administration or any of the staff will be able to put any job orders, and I'm not sure if you know that as well. But you guys can always refer it back to any of our offices, any of the Employment Development Department offices. You can refer it back to me, and we'll be able to enter any of the job orders that an employer has or any questions they have with it as well. I just don't know what certain permissions. Every staff has certain permissions that are given to them on the website. So if you are able to, as a staff member with the community colleges, if you're able to post a job order, then you'd be able to do it yourself as well. If not, you can give it back to. And I could, in our later series, I could definitely pull up some of the offices within the whole state of California so that you have a reference to go to. That might help as well.
That would be very helpful because, as you know, we are all dispersed all over the state. So if you could give us some resources, a local listing or something, that would be fantastic. So
I'll definitely do that.
Okay, great. The next question is someone's asking, what is the difference between sign in and register?
So the sign in looks like this. You guys can still see my screen, right?
Let me close the poll, and then, yes, we can see your screen right now. It says questions, so yes, we can still see your screen. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm pulling it up on the Career Cafe website so that you can see how it looks.
Okay.
So the difference between the sign-in to CalJobs versus registered, sign-in to CalJobs would be for someone who is already registered on the website, who already has a login and password. You would just go to sign in, and you'd be prompted to enter your user ID and password. The register on CalJobs would be for someone who's not registered, and it would take them through the registration process on how to register on the site. Now tell me I had too many browsers. So you would go to sign in, and it would bring you to this first option here, saying you're already registered, so enter your username and password. If you would do the select the register option, you would go to this option number 3, where it says create a user account. You would select individual, and it would take you through the whole registration process.
Thank you, Nancy. I also just want to make a note from personal experience that to let everybody know that this is completely connected to CalJobs. So if you have students who have ever received unemployment insurance, they were required to register with CalJobs. So they don't need to register again. They can use their CalJobs sign-in through the Career Cafe link. It's the same sign-in, so all that information will already be there for them. So that's just kind of a word of caution as you're working with your students. Our next question is from Steve. He wants to know if there's a cost for students to register for or for any of the services offered on the site.
No, everything is completely free, and that's because it's from the state of California. Anything you access, whether it's labor market information, everything is completely free to utilize, whether you connect with a job, whether you get hired, whatever it may be, there is no cost to anything. Even finding out the information about schools, anything like that is free. So there is no charge with the website at all.
Great. We all love free, right? Denise wants to know, does the list for training programs and schools include for-profit schools?
You know, I'm going to be completely honest. I'll find out about that.
Thank you.
I have not played around too much with that. So for provider schools, I am making a note of that. And what was her name?
Denise de Robles wants to know, does the list for training programs include for-profit schools?
Yeah, okay. So I'll go ahead and look that up, and maybe I can email that to you later on, Kate, or I could discuss it in the next webinar.
You could, both things would be great. If you email the answer to me, I'll be happy to forward it on to everybody that attended today, and then it would be great if we talked about it a little bit more too. Okay?
Okay, perfect. I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay, and then Steve is asking, how often is the site combed and or updated for current job postings? Is there any control for quote-unquote dead listings?
Well, what I was mentioning is that when we get a job order, or if an employer enters a job order, and we will discuss how to assist an employer in one of the upcoming webinars, but as staff members and employers, we are in charge of the duration of how long a job order is in. So I can say that I want the job order to be open for 30 days, and that after 30 days, the job order will close. However, let's say someone gets hired before that 30 days. Unfortunately, the communication sometimes with the employer and certain staff, or if the employer enters a job order in themselves, there is a lack of communication in closing a job out before the time that we had listed if someone does get hired within that job opening. So, but the longest a job order can be in the system for is 90 days.
Okay, great.
Does that kind of answer?
Yes, I think that answers the question. So there's a couple of other questions. I'm trying to group them together here because they're coming in pretty quickly. So Anna wants to know if she can include the CalJobs link to the college's Career Center website. But Anna, the Find a Job link on the California Career Cafe is the link that we want them to use. So if you already have the Career Cafe linked on your Career Center website, then that will get them to find a job and into the CalJobs. Carrie just wanted to note to everybody that your students can also be referred to your local work source center for assistance with registration and use of CalJobs. So if they're looking, if they need some other assistance, but we're really encouraging each of the colleges to have someone register as a staff administrator. And that was my little help wanted sign, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So let me come back to that. Anna wants to know, I noticed some of the labor market information was based on 2011 data. Is that the most current data, or is there a way to find more current data than that, is her question. Do you know, Nancy?
I do know when it comes, the 2011 data was based on the wages, and they do update when it comes to the wages, they update, labor market updates it every year. However, when they update it and by the time they relate it back into the system, it might, obviously we're already almost at the end of 2013 and we don't have the 2012 data in the new system, but that's also because CalJobs, since it completely changed. If anyone had seen CalJobs before March, the website looks nothing like it used to. And with that, I think, all the components of the new website aren't completely done. So if you do want to get that data, you would have to just go onto the labor market website themselves and get more up-to-date information. But that's the only information we have on the website from what they have relayed to whoever designed the website. And to get to labor market website, if you just go onto EDD's website, and that's D as in dog, D as in dog, .ca, .gov as in Victor, you can just go ahead and select the labor market tab, and you would find it there as well. But like I said, the labor market, give yourself some time to kind of play with it and analyze it and search for it, because there's a lot of data out there. And if you can still see my screen, correct, Kate?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm trying to pull it right now so that viewers can see the website. And then right here, what I'm hovering over is the labor market information. So you can pull up any statistics that you're looking for, any subjects by geography, and you can analyze a lot of the data they have on there as well.
Great. I've spent lots of time on that website, as I'm sure many of my colleagues on this call right now have also. So labor market data is always something of great interest to us. So I think that's the last of our questions for today. Susan is asking if I can go ahead and add your email address to our presentation for today, so that people will have access to be able to email you questions. Okay, great. So we'll be sure to give them your email address. Yeah. And I'm going to take the screen back here now because we have a couple of other questions that we want to be asking. So, folks, we do need to have somebody from each of the colleges be a site administrator at the college. So if you want to go ahead and join this exciting team and help your students be more successful, right now 24 of the colleges have already provided their contact information to Susan Coleman, but we do need some people from the other 88 colleges to help us manage the students online for your college and serve as the kind of find a job point of contact person for your college. So if you're interested in doing that with us, please send an email to me, to Kate Alder. So that's KALDER at ivc.edu. Send me your college name and address and your name, phone number, and email, and I'll go ahead and get right back to you and get you registered as the site administrator for the Find a Job on the CalJobs site for all of us. So, and also don't forget that we have some other great resources for you at the California Career Cafe and at Career Briefs. And be sure to join our social network on the cacareercafe.ning.com and see what all your colleagues are doing around the state. And remember that our presentation today will be posted on the Career Briefs website. And does anybody have any other questions? I'm kind of looking to see. I don't see any new questions coming up. Nancy, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so did you have any final comments you wanted to add before we close out?
If there are any questions, seriously, feel free to email me if you guys think of anything later or need any additional help with anything discussed, even with labor market information. Since it is within our department, I could always get more answers on anything with specifics that you're looking for. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to the next one.
Great. Thank you so much, Nancy. And by the way, the answers to the poll, 65% of the respondents said they prefer live interaction, 18% said they preferred screenshots, and 18% said they had no preference. So there's your information for planning our future presentations. And Nancy, we're looking forward to hearing from you in 2 weeks, again at noon. So 2 weeks from today, we'll be back together again. So thanks so much for your time, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.